Hey, what's going on, everyone? Week 3 of the SEC college football season. Lauren Sisler here from AL.com, joined by my buddy, Matt Scalisi. We're going to talk a little Auburn football, Arkansas football here going down on the plains today. That game was originally scheduled to be on SEC Network. It'll now be on ESPN, 3 o'clock Central Time kickoff. I'll actually be on the sidelines, hunkered down with my raincoat. I got my stack of stuff sitting down on the floor. My rain boots, Matty Ice. I got my rain boots ready. I'm
You
ready.
got your birthday rain boots on today.
My birthday rain boots.
Lauren's birthday while she's on TV today, guys.
Little rain dance, y'all.
That's
little
right.
rain dance. I love it. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate the birthday wishes, and just excited to be here. Excited to be a year older and thriving in the land of college football right now. It's been a unique deal. It's been different. And we got some key storylines going into this game, Matt. So we'll start kind of off the top, the things we're excited about to see in this matchup. And, I think we start with the fact that there's going to be a lot of injuries on both sides of the football. And more specifically, we'll talk about Auburn's injuries and who is going to step up in their place. I think that's going to be a big factor in this football game to see who's going to step up and fill some of the holes that we're seeing. A lot of injuries here early in the season.
Yeah, not what we wanted to see, especially this early in the season in college football. But it has been a rash of pretty tough injuries early on here. Maybe a result of just the weird change in kind of the pattern of how everybody got ready for the season. Who knows? Could just be bad luck too. But look, Auburn is a team that has great depth. They've recruited well over the years, and they have a lot of guys who are very talented waiting in the wings, waiting for their shot to step up. And we're gonna see some of that at the linebacker position, especially for Auburn, as they've had some guys start to get banged up. And KJ Britt, they'll obviously be without for probably much of the rest of the season. Hopefully we see him again before the season is over, but he unfortunately is going to have a hand surgery, we learned this week, which will keep him out of the lineup for quite some time. So that's a big injury. That is a thing that's going to impact the entire defense. That is a guy who makes a lot of calls, whose experience and knowledge of the defense have been key for Auburn's early success defensively. And I think we saw once he wasn't fully capable to go in that game, Georgia really started to gash Auburn, especially up the middle, especially on the ground. And that's not great news for, a league that now has a lot of high-powered offenses. I think Auburn's going to have an opportunity today. They're going up against a team that is similarly banged up and a team that isn't one of the better offenses in the league. So this will at least give Auburn and the younger guys on defense a chance to kind of get acclimated before they get thrown back into that schedule.
Yeah, and I think that it is interesting because kind of one common theme in covering a lot of teams around college football this year has been the lack of reps and preparation. You bring that up, Matt, and the guys not being able to put the pads on, they're not able to get the reps in the spring, and then of course in the summer, and then they kind of get thrown into things right into fall camp. They get 6 weeks of preparation, but they still kind of having to ease back into things. And so I think that is definitely a huge factor in guys being banged up. But, this Auburn football team, a couple years ago, we saw them get bit with the injury bug pretty heavily at the end of the season. So to see it kind of right now, this early in the season, it is a little bit alarming, a little bit jarring. And you just hope that some of these guys that they have out that are probable, that are banged up, not 100%, are going to be able to get back in and certainly ease back into it and be able to, overcome some of the challenges. And you get an Arkansas team that, does come in off a big win last week against Mississippi State. And, some people might say, well, big win, but obviously, number one, Mississippi State knocks off LSU. So that's a big win in that category. And then Arkansas has not had an SEC win in 20 games, right? So they finally snapped that 20-game SEC losing streak, and that's huge for them. So they're going to come into Jordan-Hare Stadium fired up, ready to go with a lot of excitement. So, I'm really excited to see sort of that side of the football and just see the response that we see from Arkansas. What kind of Arkansas team are we going to see under Sam Pittman? Had the chance to talk with him earlier this week as I'm covering the broadcast, and, really impressed with him as a coach. He's a big time communicator. He's definitely all business, but I think that he's got something good going there. And it's going to take time. And does it show up in the win column in Arkansas? I don't know. But I think that, Auburn is definitely going to have to come to play today. They're not going to be able to just breeze through this matchup with Arkansas. And I think that especially on offense, that's going to be the biggest thing that this Auburn football team is going to have to improve on. They're going to have to be able to run the football. And I think that's probably been the biggest, factor that we haven't seen a lot of balance on this Auburn offense. Now, last week, I should say, you go up against a Georgia team, one of the best defenses in the country. It definitely is going to throw you off balance, but they've got to get back to the run game. And what is that going to look like, in this matchup against Arkansas, a team that did get a few turnovers last week? They were able to generate some momentum against Mississippi State. And so I think that is something that I'm anxious to see. And I think it's going to be a challenging affair for this Auburn football team on offense, especially, and being able to sort of establish the run and sustain those drives and put points on the board. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk by any means.
No, definitely not. I mean, look, the word is out in the SEC at this point, and it's on Auburn to prove everybody wrong and put some footage on tape for everybody that says we're not what we looked like in that Georgia game. Because right now, if I'm an opponent getting ready to play Auburn, I'm going to watch that Georgia tape and I'm going to say, hey, this offensive line can't keep Bo Nix upright. They can't keep him safe. And it doesn't matter how good Seth Williams is. It doesn't matter how good all of these receiving options and running backs are at Auburn. If I just come after Bo Nix and that offensive line doesn't stop me, I'm going to blow up the Auburn offense. They're not going to be able to do anything. So I think you're going to get opportunities out of that. And I think particularly down the field, there are going to be one-on-one matchups. There's going to be guys that get open down the field. But Arkansas and everybody else, until it's proven otherwise, is going to come after Bo Nix. And they're going to keep him on the run, and they're going to attack that offensive line. And they're going to make Auburn prove that they can protect Bo Nix. And I think today is really a big day for that Auburn offensive line to prove that you can't just throw the kitchen sink at them and expect to come away with a stop. The Auburn's going to torch you if you do not respect their downfield passing game. That's what has to be established today. And if they don't do it today, you're going to see it the whole rest of the season, unfortunately.
Yeah, and a couple guys to highlight there from the Arkansas defensive side of the football. We've heard the name Bumper Pool quite a few times. He is a tremendous player, and he has been a little bit banged up, but he leads the SEC in tackles with 31. He's been a little banged up, as well as Graham Morgan, but those two expected to play. And I definitely think there's going to be some pressure on Bo Nix, and I think that's one thing that they want to see is for him to be able to establish that confidence and be able to stay in the pocket and trust his protections, but also the offensive line's got to protect him and do a more consistent job of doing that. So it's kind of twofold there. But I think that we also see a different Bo Nix on the road than we do at home. And so that's going to be another interesting point, to see if he's able to kind of shake off what happened last week, because, the coaching staff has said it was an embarrassment. They want to get back on their home field here and try to right the ship and sort of show, as you said, Matt, prove that that was an isolated deal. We're getting back to Auburn offense. We're getting back to our Auburn identity. So that leads us into our bold prediction for this football game. And, Matt, I think first and foremost, I know that the injuries are a big part of this. I think weather is going to be another big factor. And so it's something definitely worth pointing out, because as of right now, kind of looking at the radar and the storms that are coming in, it was raining all day yesterday. The field was sloppy, soaking wet. It's going to be interesting to see what that looks like today. And then obviously with the rain expected to start back up here in the next hour or so, I'm sitting here looking out my hotel room and not seeing any rain right now, but I think it's going to get a little bit messy. So for the fans that are sitting and watching at home, I must say that you probably have a better seat in the house than most. And again, I think that definitely changes up the dynamic of both of these offenses when you have the wet, slick weather. And if the wind is coming in sideways, we're supposed to potentially get some wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Again, I'm not a weather girl, but
you're doing a good job right now, though.
Hey, thank you. I'm laying it all out there for
you. We need to put a little green screen map behind you, and you can,
Well, that you got to do it like backwards. I think
We've
that's the
got
part I would struggle
we've
with.
got a warm pressure system right here.
Yeah.
I don't know how any of that works.
I know. But nevertheless, I think that's going to be big. So I just want to know from you, what is your bold prediction for this matchup? What are you expecting to maybe surprise you as we see these two teams take the field?
I think that the Auburn offense is going to be a lot more fun to watch today than it was a week ago. I think historically, and I've watched every single game that Gus Malzahn has coached at Auburn, and I think historically there are times that I understand, Auburn fans, that he frustrates you and that he can be difficult to watch, and he has let you down in certain big games. What I see as a pattern over time is anytime that happens, Gus responds. He goes home and he obsesses and says, I got to fix this. This guy's not going home and going to bed at night and saying, oh, it'll work itself out. Gus is a man who is deeply obsessed with having success at the sport of football. And if things don't go well, he's not going to bed until he figures it out. And I think that Gus typically comes out with a really strong adjustment and a really unpredictable game plan the next week, typically after a poor effort like what we saw last week. So I think that you're going to see some fireworks today from the Auburn offense. I think you're going to see a lot more explosiveness in the run game. I think they're going to have more success in that aspect than they've had so far this year. And I think he's going to do some things that get the energy of his offense going a little more. You can call it trick plays, you can call it whatever you want. He's going to do some things that make it fun for his offense to be playing football again.
And I think that's a big key factor there. You talk about that, bringing the fun back. When you go get smacked on the chin like they did against Georgia, you got to do something to kind of reel it back in and sort of give these guys something to be excited about. And I'm with you. I think the run game is going to be exciting. Bring on the tank.
Tank is going to get going, I think.
Tank Bigsby. This is a kid. I mean, he's young. Let's be real. He's young. He obviously, needs to get some reps in, needs some experience. But I do think that the sky's the limit for this kid. I think once you get him some more game time experience and reps, he's going to be something special. And with those running backs, Sean Shivers and DJ Williams still kind of being banged up, it'll be interesting to see how many carries that Tank gets, and obviously the success that he's able to have on the ground. But I'm with you. I think that this is an opportunity for that Auburn offense to really establish its identity again, get back to its Auburn way of football. And I think this is a great game to do it against Arkansas, who again is going to present plenty of challenges as well. But I think that we'll see some good stuff today. And so definitely looking forward to it. I'm excited to kind of get a feel for this atmosphere that we're going to see. I don't know if you know this, Matt, and I think it's been talked about some, but basically this season, Alan Green has said he is allowing the fans to be the students. He wants the students to be the fans. And he basically, I talked to him yesterday, said the biggest reason for that is you're a college student. You only get maybe 4 years. If you're on the 4-year plan, some people are on the 5 and 6 year plan, but if you're on the 4-year plan, you only get 4 years of college. So he wants to give those students the opportunity to experience college the best that they can, even during this crazy, wild, weird time during the pandemic. So I got a feeling the students will show out today despite the rainy weather. So excited to see that. That game kicks off 3:00 ESPN. I'll be on the sidelines, and of course I'll be checking out with you after the game, with the final result.
Well, everybody stay safe out there, Lauren, and I hope you have a nice experience calling this game on your birthday. And everybody who's watching now gets to enjoy your wonderful sideline antics, as always.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon.